Let's go and get started. I'm excited to introduce our presenter today. Kevin McTeague is a member of our solutions engineering team. Prior to joining R365, he served as CFO and controller of multi-unit restaurant concepts, including Chicago-based fast casual concept, Naf Naf Grill and Protein Bar Kitchen, and the full-service Ruby Slipper Restaurant Group out of New Orleans. Kevin has experience with multiple accounting ERP solutions, including Intuit QuickBooks, Microsoft Dynamics, Compete Advantage, Sage Intacct, and of course, Restaurant 365. I'm going to go ahead and just hand things on over so Kevin can bring you guys all through today's presentation.
Thanks, Jade. Well, really appreciate everyone joining us today. We're here to talk about a very popular topic in the news and in software, and that is talking a little bit about AI. Today, we're going to be walking through some key elements of, what is AI versus what is automation, really understanding why AI has become this hot topic of conversation and what really makes AI versus what is more of an automation standard that is still critically important to helping your business and arguably a better deployment of software resources in the restaurant industry than AI is. So as we are discussing automation, we'll be talking about ways that we can automate a lot of your key processes and automate a lot of the way that you collect, review, and share data, whether that's analysis of sales data, guiding purchasing decisions, helping you to manage your labor, or one of the perennial challenges in the restaurant industry that's been exacerbated over the past several years, recruiting and getting the right people into your organizations. Then we'll talk about some elements where AI really can help, talking about how AI can fit into your restaurant in the here and now, as well as where AI is going, and offering some solutions in terms of what Restaurant 365 can offer to incorporate AI into your business as it strictly relates to training. So talking about how we can help with content generation, giving your employees the tools they need to search for the right answer and get the support that they need, as well as helping to assist with the challenge of having restaurant employees who speak many different languages and getting them the content that you want them to have in the language that they're comfortable receiving it. And then we'll wrap the presentation, have Q&A, and make sure that we have a chance to answer any and all questions that you might have that are burning top of mind about AI and automation in the restaurant industry and in your four walls. So we had a little fun here, and the question is really, would you let these characters run your restaurant? There's been a lot of talk about AI and is it going to take our jobs? Is it going to take over the world? And the reality is that it's not quite there yet, right? We don't necessarily have the point where restaurants are resembling humans like some of the sci-fi classics of the 70s, 80s, and 90s and 2000s. But as you can see in the bottom of this picture, we do have a real restaurant. That is a coffee bot in a coffee shop in New York that is actually serving lattes, cappuccinos, and espresso drinks to the customers who are coming into that restaurant for food and beverage service. But what you have to think about as you're evaluating, do I want to incorporate AI into my business, is it going to be a value add? And is it something that is going to have a strong return on investment? Because at this stage in the AI's evolution, these robotics, these softwares, some of them can have very high and very expensive investment costs up front with maybe questionable returns in terms of how it's going to drive value in your restaurant. And additionally, you have to figure out within your service model, does AI really make sense for my concept? Is this going to be something that improves the customer experience by offering better consistency, quality, convenience? Or is this going to be something that takes away from the customer experience by removing the hospitality element and removing that opportunity for customer touch points that can drive a lot of value? So if we're not going to necessarily roll out the robots and put AI in this kind of cutting edge phase straight into our restaurants, where are some areas where we can actually deploy technology that exists here and now and is proven in a way that's really going to help drive my business and make my operators' lives easier? And the answer to that is automation. there's a distinction to be made. AI has been a really popular term lately, and it obviously stands for artificial intelligence. And the reason why it has been such a popular term lately is there have been some very impressive advances in the technology around things like large language learning models and machine learning that can actually analyze large data sets, continue to improve their outputs based on user inputs, and to simulate the conversation that you might have with the real human and give you the answers you need in a way that you may not be able to. But there's a whole lot of other areas of software and automation improvement that can drive value in your business that maybe doesn't meet the traditional or standard definition of AI. And some of that is what we call automation. So why do you need automation? What's the benefit here? The benefits of automation is that it really can multiply the effectiveness of your business and improve your outcomes by streamlining operations and giving your operators easier and better tools to do the elements of their jobs that require that human touch. Importantly, it puts the host back in hospitality. So if you're operating a concept that's a full service restaurant, casual dining, fine dining, and you understand that it's those customer impressions from your wait staff and the execution of your food from your back of house staff that really differentiates you against your competitors, automation is a way to make sure that those key employees don't have to waste time doing tedious and menial and non-value added work in the restaurant and can instead focus on the things that matter in terms of making great food, delivering wonderful customer experiences, surprising and delighting, and coaching and developing their teams. And in that way, automation can also seriously help fight turnover. It can make it so that your restaurant employees actually enjoy coming to work every day because they're doing what they got into the restaurant industry to do. They're in there to make great food and to have good customer experiences and have really positive interactions. They didn't join the restaurant industry to count inventory and review P&Ls and manage financials, but obviously those are critically important to running an effective business. So automation can really help them spend less time on the things that they don't want to do and more things that they do want to do so that you're surprising and delighting not only your customers, but also your employees and creating a full cycle effect. So we're going to start by talking about how we can automate sales data, how we can collect data, how we can project data, and how we can really use it to help you drive business information and drive business decisions in your four walls of your restaurant. And we're going to start this discussion by asking a quick poll of the audience. I'd love to know, how do you forecast sales today? Is this something that you do in a spreadsheet? Is this something that you do in pen and paper? Or are you using some sort of forecasting specific software that really helps you reach your goals? Or are you doing it in some sort of other software, right? Are you using a scheduling platform or some other kind of back office solution that's allowing you to kind of incorporate forecasts as part of that? We'll give everyone a few seconds to complete that poll and really kind of see what the primary way that people are doing it before, and talk a little bit about some of the other options that are available and the benefits that are included. Got some great responses coming in. We'll let a few more people fill out that poll. All right, we've got some great answers here. A lot of our attendees are sharing their experiences and what works and what doesn't work. So let's take a look at those results. As you can see, we've got 5% of you are still doing it the old-fashioned way. You know your business and you know roughly what it should be. Write down the sales from last week. Write down what you think the sales for this week will be. The vast majority of you, 56%, are using spreadsheets. It's a great way to kind of do quick and easy math and to track historical forecasts over time to sort of see how you've been doing it. 26% of you have forecasting built into one of your other software solutions like scheduling or back of house management, and 14% of you are using forecasting specific software which exists on the market. Those are great responses, and it certainly makes a lot of sense. But we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of forecasting sales data and specifically how automation factors into that effort, into that task. So forecasting, why do we do it? That was a question we probably should have asked with the poll is why do we forecast, right? Why do we want to understand what my sales could potentially be for the coming week, month, quarter, year? And a big part of the reason is that you need to have a plan as a starting point. You know, there's a quote out there that says, a plan is useless, but planning is indispensable. And it's because what you do in terms of your sales forecast is going to help inform how you structure the rest of your business for the week. So plan the week, seize the day. The forecasting tool in R365 is going to allow you to provide the visibility that matters. We're bringing in key metrics that you can see in our screenshot here in terms of what your sales last week were, what your sales last year were, so that you can sanity check or compare your projected sales forecast to what you've been doing with recent trends and make sure that it's directionally accurate. If it's not, because maybe you're having a change in seasonality or you have an upcoming holiday coming out that's not being factored into the algorithm, we give you the ability to make intuitive and easy sales adjustments to say that you want to tweak these sales forecast numbers up by a certain percentage or maybe a certain dollar amount to get it to a number that you're really comfortable signing your name to and saying, you know what, I really think this is the number that it's going to be this week. And we give you that ability to draw those easy comparisons and to see key metrics like labor and sales labor percentage. And you're able to see the weather for the forecast for the coming week, because for a lot of restaurant concepts, weather is a critically important traffic driver in terms of whether people are going to be coming in or not. But why do we use forecasting specifically in our platform in Restaurant 365? And why is it included, as 26% of you indicated, in some of your other platforms? It's because we use the sales forecasting automation that we automate through the calculation and the algorithms to drive purchasing and labor recommendations that can be automated for your key operators to again have them not spending so much time thinking about what their sales are going to be, thinking about what they should order, or thinking about how they should staff, and staying focused on the guest experience. So we mentioned that we're going to use that to help inform purchase decisions and help labor and staffing decisions. But how do we take the automation that we've already done in terms of automating your sales forecast and take that one step further to help automate your purchase data and automate your purchase decision? So we'll ask another poll here, and I'm curious to know, for the attendees on the call, how do you typically order your goods and supplies from your vendors? Is it one where they have an online vendor portal that you go on and place your orders? Do you have your own internal ordering software or back office solution that helps you figure out what you need to buy? Are some of us still victim to fax machines, where that's the only way our orders will receive it is via a paper order that comes in on the fax machine? Or are you calling your representative, placing that phone call and saying, hey, Jim, it's Tuesday. You know you get a call from me every day. I'm going to need you to go ahead and give me this many cases of beef, this many cases of tofu, this many cases of cabbage, and hope that Jim puts the order in right by the time it gets to your delivery. All right, we've got some faster responses on this one that are rolling in. We'll give you guys a few more seconds, but we've got some interesting results to share here shortly. All right. So it looks like our question in and of itself might be a little dated. Fax is a 0%, which I'm happy to hear. Nobody's doing that anymore. 10% of you are using your own ordering software that you've purchased to help you drive those decisions. 6% of you are still forced to, call the representative most of the time, but an overwhelming 84% of you are leveraging the vendor portal or online ordering system that they have provided to you, which is great. At least you've got an online ordering system to ensure that when you put that system into the website, it's going into their picking system, and you're limiting the opportunity for data entry errors to get communicated across or along the process. But the challenge with a lot of those online and vendor portals is that they're not necessarily going to tell you what you should order, what you need to order. That still requires kind of that human touch or that strong understanding by your chef, your manager, whoever's responsible for doing the order, to know the business well enough to really be able to understand what should be ordered at what time. And that's really difficult to train for and can really hurt your ability to ramp or onboard employees quickly and to deal with staff retention and training and turnover challenges. So how do we accomplish that, right? How do we tackle that with automation and make sure that purchasing is so much easier for you and your employees? We do it with purchasing automations. So our automations in our purchase order module within our 365 ensures that you are able to make fewer decisions with greater accuracy. And the way we're able to do that is to take the sales forecast that you built with ease with the automated tool and leverage that along with purchase history to give you suggestions in terms of what you should be ordering at what time. We leverage key information, including what you have on hand as of your last inventory count, what your theoretical depletion should be based on the sales data coming from the POS, and what you've already placed on order but you have not yet received to help inform forecast suggestions that allow you to say, you know what, I know I need a delivery that's going to last me for the next few days. System, tell me what I should order so that I don't run out of product and I don't have to deliver the disappointing news to my customers that we're out of a certain menu item, and I don't have to 86 it from my online ordering system and it potentially negatively impact that customer experience. And for those of you that want to make it even simpler and say, look, I know I have par levels on shelf stable items that I never want to sink below, regardless of what my kind of volume changes in sales forecasting and business, our autofill to par option means that you can actually set key par levels for those shelf stable items and take a quick count as you walk around and automatically fill the order to par. And the great thing about these purchase orders is that they're available in the palm of your hand through the mobile app. So you're not having to do this on pen and paper and take you to the back system. You're not having to walk around the restaurant with a laptop and fill it out that way. And for those online ordering and vendor portals that may not be optimized for modal, it's not going to require you to have a larger tablet. It's optimized for mobile, Android and iOS devices to be able to quickly and easily understand what I should be ordering, when I should be ordering it, and allowing me to fill out those orders in the app itself. Plus, it's offering you an offline option. We all know that it's impossible to have Wi-Fi coverage in every area of the restaurant. We have walk-in coolers and back corners and dry storage areas, or I once worked in a restaurant where our prep kitchen was in the basement. And so you need to be able to bring that phone around in offline mode and continue to build that purchase order without losing any data. Additionally, we have a barcode option so you can use your mobile device's built-in camera feature to read the UPC or other barcode from your items and quickly and easily get through and figure out, I have 3 of these autofill to par, or this is how many I want to order. And then finally, we have EDI transmittal and confirmation options with key broadline vendors, where we actually allow you to, as soon as you hit submit in the app, transmit that PO directly to that vendor as if you were entering it in their online portal and get electronic confirmation that the order has been accepted and that all of your items are in stock. And if not, giving you options for substitutions or the ability to contact your representative and make other arrangements. So really kind of bringing all of the ordering automation that you can to help limit the amount of decisions that need to be made. Ordering is just one step of the purchase process, though. We have to make sure that we then actually receive those goods and automate the checking against the invoices as much as possible. And with R365's billing and payment solutions, you never have to enter an invoice or cut a check manually again if you don't want to. We have a host of vendor integrations with over 200 goods and food and equipment and supply distributors to bring invoices into the system automatically and electronically from their invoice generation system at the line item detail, explaining exactly what you purchased and what price you paid. And we can compare and match those invoices against the purchase orders you submitted from the mobile app to actually compare, did I get exactly what I was expecting? Did I pay what I was expecting to pay based on my order? Or are there discrepancies between my order and my invoice that I need to dig into and I need to resolve? And for those vendors that you may work with, if you work with smaller vendors or specialty vendors, or even if they're larger vendors that don't serve just the restaurant industry, and so they haven't really kind of worked with restaurant clients to build EDIs, we have capture services available, both OCR capture AI driven services and assisted capture services. This is a relatively new offering of Restaurant 365 in terms of leveraging OCR technology. Several years ago, people were leveraging OCR technology to try and read restaurant invoices, and it just wasn't quite picking up the type of descriptions, the quantities, the units of measurement, and all of the important purchase information that's typically detailed on a restaurant level invoice. And you can see in here on our screenshot that what we are allowing you to do is we are giving you access to the OCR mapping templates that are used to drive the capture and picking up of the data off of the invoices. So if you want to tell it, hey, stop reading this one section of the invoice this way, or leave this out entirely, or every time you see this, I want you to code it that way, you're in control. So while the system can pick things up automatically and learn, you have the opportunity to provide input and teach the system that, hey, this is how I want this thing to be coded moving forward. And if it's the kind of thing that it's an extremely complicated invoice and you really, never get a great image from the vendor, or it's something that just doesn't seem to be, thinking something that you think Capture OCR could handle, we have assisted services as well. So we have our Capture Pro services that will actually involve a human in the OCR process to read and verify the information on your behalf, create new units of measurement as they come up, incorporate that into your inventory management, and really make sure that you still have that human touch, but it's not necessarily a full-time employee of your organization. It's very much outsourcing that process, which again, entering invoices is not a value-added service from one of your employees. It's a data entry process that should be automated as much as possible. And finally, we automate the payment processing. With R365 payments, we give you the ability to simply tell us which invoices you authorize for release, and we can pay your vendors via check, ACH and direct deposit, or via credit card without you having to do any sort of manual work on your end. So never entering an invoice or cutting a check ever again if you don't want to. So we've talked a little bit about sales forecasting and the automation that we can do to help build that sales forecast. And we've included how that really helps guide and inform your purchasing decisions in terms of placing orders that you're then automating by reconciling against the invoices received from those vendors. But what about labor? The other key component of prime costs, controlling your controllables. How do we automate the labor information that you are receiving and processing and forecasting? It starts with that sales forecast, but it really takes it one step further when it starts thinking about how you build your schedule. And what's the importance of that, right? Why do we want to automate the scheduling? It's about getting your aces in their places. You want to make sure that you don't just have the right number of hours or the right labor percentage, but that you have the right people in the right positions at the right time. And the way that we accomplish that is by helping you to build a labor model or labor matrix that can actually dynamically adjust based on changes in sales. So if you know that every time you have a $2,000 lunch hour, you want to have a certain number of cashiers, servers, hosts, bartenders, line cooks, and sanitation specialists, you want to make sure that that's incorporated into your labor model so that it will actually tell you, hey, here's my sales forecast that was automated by the system. Now I want you to tell me what a perfect schedule looks like, and pairing that sales forecast information that's projected by day, breaking that sales forecast down by the hour, 30-minute, and 15-minute intervals based on recent trends, and pairing that with your labor model or matrix to help me understand, do I have a good schedule? And comparing that smart schedule that comparing that schedule that I've built against the ideal, optimal, or smart schedule of what we would put out there in a perfect world. That way you can make dynamic adjustments as you're building your schedule for the week and say, I need to open up a few more shifts and let people pick up a few more hours. Or I need to take a look at maybe bringing this employee's hours down because they're rapidly approaching overtime. So really allowing you to see this information in real time through automated performance dashboards. With several of our POS integrations, we're able to bring sales and labor data in 15-minute intervals. So you can see in real time, am I scheduling according to an optimal staffing model? And am I deploying my labor in line with the way that I actually scheduled so that I can make decisions in real time about Am I overstaffed? Am I understaffed during this day part? Do I need to ask people to stay on or stay late? Do I need to ask people if they're open or willing to heading home a little early? And really comparing that automated forecast to that automated schedule to actual results and really understanding, hey, are we doing things the right way? Because what you then want to be able to do is to help inform the model, understand and run reports and get live recommendations about, if it said I was understaffed and I was overstaffed, does that feel right? Were we understaffed? Were we overstaffed? Do I need to adjust my model? And it really allows you to continue to hone that labor matrix or model till you'll get to a point where you say, hey, I'm really confident in these metrics that we've outlined and decided for our group, our restaurant. And that really helps with turnover in terms of automating the process of building a schedule, which for several managers and shift supervisors and employees, that can be an hours-long process every single week. Recruiting. We've talked a little bit about sales and purchasing and labor automation, and those three are really closely connected in terms of how the sales forecast drives the suggestions for purchasing and for invoicing. But recruiting is one that lives very much on its own. How are we going to help automate the recruiting process to get better employees into our restaurant faster? And the key is with R365's higher autopilot feature. So what we allow you to do is help automate some of the initial interview communication, screening, and scheduling that goes on when you're trying to identify and recruit qualified employees. So it really helps you stay competitive against your peers, because the way it works is that you can include key screening personality or skills questionnaires on the application, whether that job posting is included on Indeed or LinkedIn or on your website, which we can push that job posting out to all of those different job boards automatically. And when that employee fills out those questionnaires, if they fill them out in the way that would be interesting to you to then have an interview, they say, are they, do they have a high school degree or GED equivalent? Yes. Are they authorized to work in the United States? Yes. Or, do you have a bubbly personality? Whatever you determine to be those value-added screening questionnaires, you can have autopilot automatically, if that person answers them the way that you would hope, reach out via text to that employee and say, hi, I'm the hiring manager here, would really love to talk to you. Can you please use this link to schedule an interview? That employee gets that text within seconds or minutes of completing that application. They can follow the link from that text and see the availability of the general manager or hiring manager as determined by their integrated calendar solution, whether that's Google Calendar or Microsoft Outlook, so that their availability is current and live, and you're ensuring that qualified applicants are getting access to the hiring manager faster. And we have the stats to back it up. So when we look at other solutions, autopilot increases the conversion of your applicants from contacted to scheduled by 51% compared to just getting that application via email and finding the time to go back and forth with them. And it also improves the time to interview. So not only are they scheduled, but they are now getting in with an interview by up to 62% faster, because again, they have control over what they're scheduling. They can see the availability of the hiring manager, and maybe it's the kind of thing where they answered the questions correctly, they got the text message, they looked at availability, and that hiring manager is available this afternoon when they have free time. So it's getting them into your door faster on the schedule that works for your hiring manager to have really conducive and productive interviews and questions. So we've talked a lot about automation, and we've kind of given a little bit of a differentiation between automation and AI. But you might be asking, where does AI in this current moment come into my restaurant? Where can I leverage AI as it stands in the here and now? What's a safe bet, low cost way for me to leverage AI in the restaurant industry? And we're absolutely here to suggest some of those ways. So ways that you can incorporate AI into your restaurant right here, right now. As I mentioned, a big reason for why AI is getting this kind of, hot button moment is because of large language learning models and machine learning and chatbots that can really help you drive a lot of the word-based content that is so critical to driving your business. So if you're a new restaurateur looking to start a restaurant, or you are an existing restaurateur looking to get financing, lending, or additional equity investment for new locations or new concepts, AI can help you write your business plans. That used to be a lengthy process that took, hours and research and documentation and all to just, maybe have a bank shut you down. Whereas now with AI, you can simply go to ChatGPT or Google Gemini and say, imagine I'm a restaurateur looking to open a fast casual taco concept in the greater Austin, metro area. What would I need to provide in a business plan to a lender to attract a good financing and good interest rate? And it'll tell you based off of a large library of business plans that are published online, and a large library of kind of business handbooks and all sorts of ideas and documentation to really guide you into building a business plan. So you don't have to be the author of that business plan. You can be the editor of it and revise it and tweak it to meet your needs. Similarly, AI can be super helpful for social media. When you're thinking about how am I going to create a post that's going to capture the fact that Father's Day is coming this weekend and the US Open is on, how do I really kind of get people excited for that aspect and have them come sit in my sports bar and really kind of drive things up? You can ask that question from AI and it will give you results about that. And for what we've talked about with that business plan and social media, we've been talking about word content, but AI is also now capable of generating image content. So you can use it to have image-rich social media contents, and you can provide feedback and say, I actually don't want to see a picture quite like that. I want it to be tweaked a little bit differently. And you can really help it overall with your marketing content generation to sort of understand, hey, what do I want for this promo to look like? What do I want for this campaign to look like? Or, you know what, I'm thinking about launching a new concept. Can you help me decide or give me some first drafts of a logo that would really kind of capture what I'm trying to do or what I'm trying to convey to my prospective customers? Food photography is another area where it used to be extremely expensive to hire a food photographer and get things just right and convey the value. In today's ever-changing world where you need to have new menu items all the time and you have to upload those content and images to the third-party delivery applications like Grubhub, Uber Eats, and DoorDash, you may not have time to wait for a photographer to come in and position that. And it may be that you're offering something that is not something that needs that unique touch. And you could say, show me a hamburger, show me a cheeseburger, add bacon to it, take the tomato off, give it a little aioli, give it from a different angle, include some fries, and you can actually generate something that looks pretty close to what you build in the restaurant and is going to be a lot prettier necessarily than the picture you take with your phone and a lot more cost effective than bringing in a full service professional food photographer into your restaurant. You can also use AI for customer reviews and responses. This is not necessarily something that I would just sort of copy and paste and without a little bit of supervision, but we all know how challenging it can be to respond to a negative review or somebody who had an incident, and it's really hard to kind of empathize with them and deliver something in a way that you think is going to be satisfactory. Again, let AI be the author. Let them do the first pass. Have them sort of craft a response and take a look at it and see if you think it resonates with you and fits your personal voice. And then you can send that out. And it can really sort of speed up that review and response by removing writer's block and letting you focus on getting your message across. Finally, it can help you with policies, handbooks, and documentation. So if you're starting a new restaurant or you're trying to do an update to one of your uniform policies, employee handbooks, harassment trainings, or documentations of key processes or training, those are things that you can challenge AI to say, hey, I need you to kind of write me a plan for this, or I need you to update this section, copying and pasting what I have currently, make it sound a little bit more friendly or a little bit more catchy. So there's lots of opportunities on the language and image generation aspects of AI that you can incorporate into your restaurant now. And a lot of these services and solutions are easy to learn, easy to use, and low cost to deploy. But how is Restaurant 365 going to really help you level up with the implementation of AI? It really comes down to training. Our new training platform incorporates AI at multiple steps to ensure that you are providing an excellent training environment and experience for your employees so that they feel empowered to do their jobs effectively. And we're going to walk through some of those key aspects of how we've developed AI into our training platform now. So content generation, right? I mentioned about not having to be the author. It's important for you to save your time and your voice and really let the system do what it's meant to do in terms of leveraging decades worth of human literature to understand how humans communicate and really helping you to leverage the training platform to create messages to your team. So you'll notice that we have kind of a live screenshot here going of the platform in action when you want to create a post for your team. And you can say, hey, I want to generate this post with AI. So I want to, for example, create a birthday announcement for one of my employees and really kind of celebrate that. But I don't have time to think about like all the things that I want to say about this wonderful person. And you can see that it automatically creates that post and allows you to, within 2 seconds, generate something that is still sincere, but takes a lot of the time and effort out of sharing that update with your team and with your field. You can also use this content generation for doing staff announcements, shift huddles, new policy changes. And so it really allows you to kind of not have to spend so much time thinking about what you want to say and focusing more on how you want to say it. Search and support. And it's really important these days for employees to have quick answers to the information they need with the challenges they face. So our search and support features within the employee training AI allow you to get the answers you need when you need them. And by that, I mean that what we are doing is empowering your team to ask questions. As you can see in this screenshot, the user is actually chatting with AI directly within the training application, not having to go anywhere else. And they're asking this question in whatever language makes sense to them. The first question was asked in English, the second question was asked in Spanish, and AI has the capability to respond to them in the language that they are most comfortable with. Additionally, what you're able to do is upload your own content. So this is going to leverage your recipes, your policies, your training documentation. And so when you ask, hey, how do I prepare a Long Island iced tea? It's going to do it based off of your recipes and answer immediately in a way that is consistent with the way that you would want to train your employees. Additionally, you can monitor the chat history. So if you see that people are constantly and consistently asking, can I wear gauge earrings to work? Can I wear white pants to work? You will know that, hey, I have a real training opportunity to remind everybody of kind of key parts of our policies, our training and documentation, or at least identify where there is a training gap and sort of see that, you know what, new employees are very frequently going in and asking these 3 questions. Maybe I need to incorporate these answers more into my shoulder-to-shoulder training and onboarding. And then we have our translation features. So I showed that with the search and support feature, you can ask questions in different languages and it will respond in the appropriate language based on the content that you uploaded, whether or not that was uploaded in English or in another language. But it can take it one step further too. For those posts that we mentioned that you were able to generate with AI and for those announcements and policy changes and shift huddles that you want to sort of share with the team, they have the ability to quickly and instantly translate those posts. So when it comes out, sure, they might understand it loosely, but if they really want to grasp the concept, they can translate it into one of hundreds of different languages immediately on the fly. You can see here that we've taken our chicken cordon bleu and translated it to German so that the user is really comfortable in their own language, understanding what needs to go into the special and how they can communicate that new item in the best way possible to their restaurant, to their guests to really drive that experience. And critically, all of this is not only available on mobile, but it is created in a mobile-first environment. We know that the needs for searching, supporting, and for content generation are driven by a mobile-first environment. So all of this is baked directly within the application so that you can access this all in the palm of your hand. All right, to recap, we talked a little bit about the difference between automation versus AI and why you may not want AI in your restaurant in this current moment, but you definitely want automation to help you automate your sales projections and forecasts, drive purchasing decisions with greater accuracy and fewer inputs, make labor and staffing solutions and schedules that are going to be able to be evaluated against live performance and make recommendations, as well as helping you to recruit and retain employees faster using our Hire Autopilot tool. And we showed you about all the wonderful real applications of AI in your restaurant, from content generation and answering things around social media and recipes and policy documents, and also leveraging them within our training platform to really help you understand how I can use AI in the palm of my hand to ask questions about allergens, nutritional information, employee policy information, and translating that all into the language that I'm going to be able to understand and comprehend. So with that, I really appreciate everyone's time today. We're going to open up the floor for some questions and answers.
All right. Before we do that, I'm actually going to take just a second. This is a poll question that we do at every webinar, and it's just making sure that if anybody has additional interest in seeing one of our other products or the products mentioned today, that we make sure somebody gets in contact with you. So we're going to go pull this poll up, give it a few seconds for you guys to answer. If there's anything that gauge your interest and you'd like to learn more about, please just let us know. Give it a few more seconds here. I see them still coming in. All right, as we move into questions and answers, make sure that you submit those questions over in your toolbar on the right-hand side if you have them as we go on here. I did see one question, and I'll go ahead and answer this one right off the bat. We have the question about, will this recording be sent out after? Yes, we will send you guys an email with this recording for you guys to share, you rewatch, use as you please. Now let's go into the funner questions. Let's see. Okay. For you, Kevin, how will AI and automation impact jobs in the restaurant industry?
That is a great question. I think there's a lot of concerns over, AI and robots taking over the world and robots coming for our jobs. But, I think it's really going to be up to individual restaurateurs to understand, where do I want automation to happen in my restaurant, and where do I want the human component to really kind of focus on, ensuring that you have that host and the hospitality. So automation and AI are absolutely going to help you make more effective and more efficient purchasing and labor decisions, for example. So you may not need to have as tenured or an experience as a person to make purchasing decisions, and you may not need to have as many employees on the schedule to really kind of run the restaurant efficiently and effectively. But what does that mean in turn, right? It means that you can have higher starting wages for the employees that you do have. You can reward and recognize the ones who have been there with you for a long time. You can fight turnover by making their jobs easier and more enjoyable. And you can continue to leverage AI in other areas, right? Maybe it's something where you don't really have a marketing person yet, but there are AI-driven solutions out there for customer engagement and loyalty. So rather than hiring a marketing person that you don't really have the budget for right now, you could potentially leverage a software solution that's still going to help you boost top-line sales.
Nice. I do like this question. They're asking about inventory, and is it part of the ordering section?
It is, absolutely. So inventory counts, inventory management, and recipe costs and actual versus theoretical food costing is absolutely part of our operations platform that includes both inventory management and ordering options, as well as that labor forecasting, scheduling, and performance dashboards.
Nice. Okay. So next question, how can AI help restaurants better understand and leverage customer data?
Yeah, that's a really good one. I mean, there are so many more data points available now than there were even 5 or 10 years ago, let alone 20 or 30 years ago. So we're getting information from, limited credit card data and online ordering data and third-party platforms and website traffic, right? And so AI can really kind of help you separate the real information from the noise, right? And it can help you drive a lot of the insights and analytics, and it can help you ask the right questions. There's some really exciting stuff happening with AI right now as it relates to data where, tools like Microsoft's Copilot can actually look at a data set and draw insights or inferences from that underlying raw data, which is just a bunch of tables and numbers, and say, hey, this is a trend that we've identified and recognized. We think that, you have a greater incidence rate of combo add-ons or upsells on Thursdays and Fridays than you do on Mondays and Tuesdays. So maybe you would want to think about offering a buy one, get one promotion on the days where it's slower. And maybe you want to think about doing some marketing campaigns that position your more popular or more profitable combo items on those days when people are more inclined naturally to make those purchases.
Yeah, okay, so think we have time for about 3 more questions, Kevin. The next one I have for you, people are asking about the new forecasting and how they can be transitioned over to that new model.
Great question. Yeah, so the forecasting model that we have is a newer offering. I would encourage those current customers of Restaurant 365 looking to leverage the newer and smoother and more intuitive forecasting V2 to reach out to their customer success manager. And if they don't know who their CSM is, they can certainly submit a support ticket at support.restaurant365.com, and we will be sure to get them in touch with the right people.
Okay, 2 more questions. How can restaurants balance the benefits of automation and the need to maintain a personal touch in customer service?
That one is a tricky one, and one that I don't have, a clear one-size-fits-all answer for everyone. It really is going to come down to understanding what makes your business different, right? If it is the kind of thing where people love your food because of the time that they spend with the servers and wait staff because they're super friendly and talkative, then you may not want to use automation to cut down on the number of front of house employees that you have. If people really love your food because of the consistency and execution of the meals and the quality of the food, you may not want to cut down on back of house operations. But if it's the kind of thing where people are coming to you because they like the consistency and quality and convenience of your fast casual quick service restaurant, you may want to look at figuring out ways to just make that experience a little bit more frictionless, a little bit faster, a little bit easier, or a little bit more consistent. And that's an area where automation can absolutely help. And if it's that full service model where you're not really looking to kind of take anything away in terms of labor, just find ways to make those employees' lives easier because they're going to have a better time and they're going to be happier employees and they're going to provide better customer service.
Well said. Um, I do like this one. You mentioned there was learning in the processing of invoices. Can you elaborate on that more?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the invoices that are coming into the system, our goal is always going to be to try and get an integration set up, but we understand that there are some vendors where that's not going to be possible, or at least not possible right now. And so we are leveraging the collective capture services of our entire client base, that if there is a vendor that multiple clients are using, but we haven't yet set up a vendor EDI, we can use the learnings from those invoices that we process and receive and apply them across the entire organization to sort of say, hey, we've learned that every time this vendor invoice comes in, we need to look here for a subtotal, not there. We need to categorize this invoice as a supply item, not a food item, and we can share those sort of learnings and insights across our database with multiple customers. But then you have that ability to sort of say, actually, we do things a little bit differently. I don't want you to read it that way. I don't want you to code it that way. You're very much in control of kind of how it monitors and analyzes and reviews and inputs your invoices. So it's really no different than having your own AP employee and teaching them, hey, I want you to read this invoice this way. We're just doing it with AI supported technology.
All right. Well, as we're wrapping up, I do see one last question that I would love to answer, which is just what's next for Restaurant 365? Obviously, we're always taking feedback. We're always building up products that we're listening to the market and what you guys are interested in. But coming up, we do have RTT, and I highly recommend if you're interested in joining us and learning from not only our experts here at Restaurant 365, but some fellow restaurant owners in the industry, please check that out at our website. But to wrap things up, thank you, Kevin, so much. It was a great presentation, and thank you all who joined us today. We will be sending out the presentation, as I mentioned, in an email where you guys can download it, share it, listen to it again if you'd like. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. But thank you, everybody, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.